Welcome everyone. Today we have a special guide for Diablo 4. Now as you guys can see behind me, you're like, hey Matt, what do you mean by 5 times level 20 glyphs? Well, over here I did level 3 of the glyphs to level 20 and also 4 glyphs to level 15. So if you combine the other 4, we have 5 of the level 20 glyphs. So yeah, I spread my experience, but if I use the experience from those two onto those two, it would be ideal for 5 glyphs in 5 hours. And this is level 20. So let me show you guys how this is done. Now looking behind me, you guys can see I prepared some notes for you guys to have a look at the entire process and also the best dungeons to be farming. So this video will be broken down into several parts. The first part, I'll briefly explain the process of crafting and also isolating certain dungeons. The second part of the video, I'll go through each of the dungeons into more details, teaching you guys the best method to be farming my top 8 dungeons. And those dungeons are super fast. You're going to see in the replays, it takes me about 2 to 3 minutes to clear each of the dungeons. And this means you get insane amount of experience and also items every clear you have. And we'll be clearing those dungeons super fast using this method. Now you can see that the video is a little longer than usual because I want to provide you guys with all the replays for each of the dungeons for full clear. Now you can see in the full clear I will be making some mistakes because during the recording this is usually the first recording. In the futures I didn't record all of them, but I'll give you guys the best method for each of the dungeons, and you can go back to the replays to see my mistakes and also my method to be speedrunning each of the dungeons. Now just to give you guys a brief summary of how this is done, notice I'm traveling to one of the nightmare dungeons, and after going to the nightmare dungeons, we're going to fast forward a little bit. So let me show you guys the example over here. So over here we're farming the sunken ruins as 3 players, and this dungeon actually took me less than 2 minutes to finish. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to level up my glyph, and also I got really high attack power I want to show you guys over here. I'll be showing you guys my entire build for the speedrunning farming. So once I finish the dungeon, I'm going to exit the dungeon. And once I exit the dungeon, notice I have maps associated and also prepared for multiple sunken ruins. And this allows me to farm this dungeon non-stop. And I'll share with you guys the method of crafting, of building for multiple maps, and also doing this with multiple dungeons to farm this one super quickly. So over here you can see we'll be spamming the same dungeons over and also over again with only 2 minutes to clear each of the dungeons. And this is incredibly good for farming experience. So coming over to my first part of the guide. So let me show you guys the method and also trick of crafting of sigils. So looking behind me, you can see I have sigils sorted into 2 categories. The top sigils are associated and also ordered by the locations. The bottom sigils are left over to be savaged. So you can see I'll be savaging a lot of the places which I don't need. And during this time I was filtering the best dungeons for my build and also my class. And this can also work for your build, because I want to give you guys the best dungeons to be farming and also to be looting and also to be getting the most experience in the fastest runs. And now what I'll do is I'll be crafting additional dungeons in order to craft additional targeted dungeons. And for this particular method, I'll explain to you guys in more details in the notes. I just want to show you by doing this for about 30 seconds, you can be running your dungeon so much quicker and also so much more targeted. And this is great for single players and also multiplayers. So what I recommend at the start of the crafting process, you can be using my dungeon tier list for now and then tailor this to your build and also for your class. Maybe some of the dungeons you might be like, nah, not this one. Maybe other dungeons you'll be like, yes, this one's good. So what we're doing is we're keeping the dungeons with the same dungeon location sigil, and I'll be crafting more dungeons from level 41 to level 50. Now if you really can't do this particular level, you can do level 31 to level 40, that is okay as well. I don't recommend doing level 51 to level 60, it is way slower, it is not worth the additional experience. Now ideally, you want to be running this one with at least 2 people. But this method can also be working on solo. As long as you keep enough dungeon sigils, you can be doing this one solo super fast. Because all the dungeon listed over here is doable solo, and they're ideal for making solo plays and super fast speedruns. So you guys saw in the replay, I was savaging all the other dungeons which I don't need. Now during the time of the replay, I was savaging some of the useful dungeons because I didn't get to test them all. And eventually I end up with 8 different dungeons. I have tested a lot of other dungeons and I want to go through all the dungeons with you guys. Some of those require me to slay all, other ones just too many objectives. And some other ones it is the best for co-op and it might not be the best for single players. So by keeping my sigils only by the location of the dungeons, I was able to do those dungeons super fast. Now what you would then want to do is, after crafting, you'll be establishing the wrong dungeons and keeping only the correct ones. And by sorting out the dungeons by locations in your inventory, you can start to do the dungeons that will have at least 3 of the same locations. For example, if I'm doing blind burrows, if I have these 3 blind burrows, I'll go over there and also start doing this. And once you finish one of the dungeons, you can just simply exit the dungeon, open another blind burrow, and repeat this one super fast. Now this is going to be the biggest part of the method of the dungeons. Because we're sorting out the dungeon by locations, what we're doing is we're saving time to travel between dungeons, and we're farming at least 3 of the same dungeons at once. And if you do have your friends and also other players in the party with the same dungeon, likely you can farm one dungeon multiple times, over 5 or 10 times. And this means you have no downtime between the dungeons. You simply farm dungeon 3 times, go back to sell your items, and farm the dungeon again. And this means you can infinitely reset the dungeons because you can be crafting certain dungeons to your liking. Now during my testing, as you can see in my replay, in a group of 2 players, we could easily run all 8 of those dungeons non-stop because we get enough dust, we get enough maps to be going for those dungeons. And if you do have a group of 4 players, you can even focus on just 2 to 4 dungeons, and this will allow you to farm those dungeons very, very quickly. Now, one of the biggest highlights in my dungeons is that those dungeons actually take me about 2 to 3 minutes to clear, and I'll show you guys some of the replays of how fast I can clear those, and I'll teach you guys the best method of clearing each of those dungeons, because I think it's really important for you to understand the dungeons and also get the most out of it. I'm sure you guys can clear those dungeons in under 4 minutes, or maybe even 3 or 2 minutes, like I do over here. So the key of clearing any of those dungeons is make sure you don't stop for anything except to kill or clear the dungeon objectives. And this way, you'll be doing this one super fast. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of Diablo 4 related topics and also videos and also guides. We'll be looking to the top meta builds, non-meta builds, leveling up, and also paragon tricks. We're also looking to the latest events and also official updates and also changes to different characters and also different builds in the game. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notification on, because a lot of you who are watching the videos have not subscribed. You can see 80% of the viewers who are watching our videos have not subscribed. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the latest update for Diablo 4. Now coming over to the second part of the video. So in the final part of the video, guys, I have attached my entire instructional video and also replays to show you guys the variety of clearing method for each of the dungeons. So make sure you use the timestamps for the last part. So now let's briefly talk about each of the dungeons I want to show you guys. So over here, I'll be going through the instructions and also method to speed run my favorite 8 dungeons. And the first one is going to be Earthen Wood. So starting with Earthen Wood, you're going to have the objective to destroy 3 corpses gate. And notice I'm checking my potions and also my dungeons. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. You can see the gate is very straightforward. You just keep running forward, you find a gate, you destroy it, you keep running, you find one more gate, you destroy the gate. So make sure you run in a straight line, and sometimes you will find a detour, but that's not a problem. Notice that I'm not killing monsters, I'm just going for the quest objectives. And here I'll fast forward a little bit more. Once you destroy all 3 gates, you're going to travel forward. Now this is the best part about the dungeon. So over here, you'll be asked to slay monsters to collect items. And what you're going to notice is the monsters are located into 3 sections in these dungeons. So in each of the left and also right corners, you're going to see 2 of the monsters. So one will be available and one will spawn on top of you. So this allows you to kill 6 monsters super fast. And this allows you to complete the second part. Now once you have killed those 6 monsters, I'm sure you guys will get the hang of it, it's super easy. And then just simply travel to the end of the map to the boss monster. And you can easily kill the boss monster and finish the dungeon. And this is one of my favorite dungeons to be speedrunning. So what I do is, I'll have the full dungeon replay now to show you guys, and then we go to the next dungeon. So make sure you use the timestamp, guys, for each of the dungeons for a detailed guide. Now the second dungeon we have in no particular order is going to be Serpent's Lair. Serpent's Lair, I cannot pronounce. Now the problem with Serpent's Lair is that at the start you're going to take about 30 seconds just getting to the start of the dungeon. It is really annoying, and make sure you guys take the left hand side, not the right hand side. The right hand side is a dead trap, it doesn't lead you to anywhere. And once you spend the 30 seconds to travel to the dungeon, this is actually a really good dungeon. Also be careful guys, if you're pressing spacebar next to the letter, you might go back up. Now the first objective of the dungeon is to kill monsters for their animus carriers or aminous orbs. This is quite straightforward. What you want to do is, you want to be running in a circle, and you do not want to miss any of those monster droppings. So once you're running in a circle, you're going to see some dead ends. That is okay, just keep running in a circle and come back to where you started. Notice here, I'm running back to where I started, and this, by clicking on the urn, you start the second part. Now the second part is even easier, so you're going to fast forward a little bit, you'll be destroying 3 of the ward's eye. And those are immovable structures that is located on the map. This is quite easy, because you just go there and smack them. And you go there and smack them. So this dungeon is super fast. The only downside is that it takes about 30 seconds to run at the start. But once you smack all 3 of the structures, you'll be done with the dungeon. This one is super fast, you can do this one in under 2 minutes. So again guys, over here, make sure you watch the replays for the entire replay of running this dungeon.
I must wait. I must wait. must wait.
Now one of my favorite dungeon is going to be aldurwood. Now this dungeon is a little bit tricky because this dungeon have some wild boars that's going to charge at you. But because the dungeon is low enough, it should not one-shot you guys. Sometimes my friends get one-shotted because of the boars or the cows. So the first part of the dungeon, you'll be slaying 3 monsters. You go left, go around, go right, go around, and this should be able to find 3 monsters. Just keep in mind guys, you can only have a maximum of 2 of the target monsters on one of the side. So once you have slain, 1 monster on one side or 2 monsters on one side, you should not be going around. You should be going to the other side like I do over here. Now once you have slain all 3 monsters that is conveniently located on the minimap, what you're going to do is, you're going to fast forward to the middle of the map and the gate will open up. And all you have to do is run all the way to the boss. That's it. You run to the boss, you kill the boss, and the dungeon finishes.
I must wait. I'm not ready yet. Not ready yet. Not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Now the 4th dungeon we have is going to be Dark Ravine. So this dungeon is similar to the most dungeons. You'll be collecting the eminence from eminence carriers. Again guys, you want to be going around. And this time, there's something special about those monsters. So what I do is, I'll fast forward a little bit. So you're going to find those monsters. Sometimes they take a little bit delay to appear in front of you. And make sure you collect everything that's on the floor. Now over here, you'll be asked to slay 3 quest monsters. What you want to do is, you just want to go around the map and look for the scale icons. So after killing one of them, I was able to keep going around. And there's one highlight I want to share with you guys. You want to go to the dead end of the map. Notice that the monsters was actually spawning a little slower. I almost missed it. So the monsters, the scale monsters, will actually take a few seconds to spawn. So once you're at the end of the map, make sure you wait for the monsters to spawn to kill them. And once you guys kill all 3 of the monsters, you travel to the end of the map and go to the boss. And once you slay the boss, the map is done.
Not ready yet. Not ready yet. wait. Ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Let's wait.
Now the 5th dungeon is going to be Abandoned Mineworks. For this particular dungeon, you'll be rescue 6 prisoners. Now because of the casting time for the prisoners are quite quickly, if you're durable enough, you can skip the monsters and also free the prisoners. But if you're having troubles, you can kill the monster around it. And this is the hardest part for this dungeon. Now once you have slain all the monsters, you're going to come over to an intermediate part, and once you go through that part, this will ask you to kill 3 Forsaken miners, and the miners are located left, right and also bottom of the map. So go to left, go to right, go to bottom. Sometimes it's at top right or top bottom, or sometimes it's like, top left, top right, top left, top right. So make sure you check all the locations, and if you do have multiple players, you can be fast forwarding this one. So over here you can see this monster is at top right for me, sometimes it's at top left, and sometimes it's at bottom. So once you clear all 3 monsters, the dungeon will be done.
Ready yet. Not ready yet. I must wait.
Wouldn't have made it without you.
I must wait. I'm not ready yet. I must wait.
Now coming over to blind burrows, I actually made a typing mistake over here. So as for the blind burrows, it's pretty straightforward. You'll be killing 3 infected monsters, and once you kill those at each corner of the maps, so you have to go around, ideally you want 2 to 3 players, but you can do this yourself. Once you kill them, you skip everything. And over here you can see, once I have to kill the last infected monster, yes, my friend's dying a lot because I'm trying to carry him and he was just a bit of AFK. So once you have to clear all 3 of the infected monsters, usually an icon on the map will appear. It will tell you the location of the boss you want to travel to. And if it doesn't appear, go to one of the gate that is on the top left or on the top right. And once you go through over here, just keep running forward. You can skip all the monsters and you get to the boss. And once you kill the spider boss, which is actually surprisingly easy for my build, yes, I'll show you the build with you guys. Once you kill the boss, that dungeon's done. So it's a very quick dungeon, very fast.
Not ready yet. I must wait. I'm not ready yet. I must wait. Not ready yet. Not ready yet. I must wait.
Next up, we have Kor Dragon. Yeah, this dungeon is quite tricky. So initially I was like, this is a good dungeon, but it turns out it's not a bad dungeon. So at the start of the dungeon, you have to be solving or interacting with 2 objectives. And this is the hardest part. Because there will be monsters around, ideally you want to kill the monsters and then unlock the livers. So the second objective is that you have to destroy 5 of the blood boils. Now the blood boils are located more further into the map. So take a pathway, go all the way through after a bit of running. So I'll fast forward a little bit. So notice I ran for about close to 30 seconds, then start to find them. And once you find one, you're going to find all of them. Now once you have destroyed all of the blood boils, the dungeon's finished. So this one is really quick. The only hard part was going for the livers.
must wait. I must wait. I must wait. I must wait. I must wait. Not ready yet. I must wait.
And finally, we have our last dungeon. Yes, it's a super long video, but I want to make it for you guys so you can understand everything. So for this dungeon, it's going to be the Crusader's Cathedral. This one's quite straightforward because it's going to ask you to find the key, and the key is located on the map. So over here, you can see the icon on the map. Once you loot the key, you open the door. And over here, once you open the door, you're going to keep going forward, and this will ask you to slay 3 monsters. The monsters are located to the edge of the map, and once you have go to one of the edge of the map, you go to the other side. So you go to the left hand side, right hand side, and then to the top side or the north side. And this will complete the dungeon.
Not ready yet.
Now, in case you guys didn't know, I'll be live streaming on Twitch again, and I have just started. So make sure to come over to the links below to join us on Twitch live to say hi, maybe ask me questions or share any tips with the viewers. And while you're here, make sure you follow. And if you do have your Twitch Prime, this is a really good time to use your Twitch Prime over here, supporting us with Twitch Prime. And yes guys, join us as I test build for Diablo, and also join us as you play the game and also farm the game. So stay a while and also listen. We'll also be doing some giveaways and also special viewer events in the Diablo as well. Maybe we do PvP and also related events in the game as we get to the end game, and also help players to go through the dungeons.